Welcome friends to another r/I don't work here lady video. Our first story of the day is by Pavelcar21. Karen mistakes a parking yard with an auto shop. So yesterday I was told by my dad to stop by his work and change my tires from winter to summer ones. I arrived just when they were having lunch, so maybe that's why things had to come to the point they came. I loaded the tires and tools on a cart and moved it closer to my car. Around 5 minutes into it, a car I have never seen arrives, and it looked really strange because it was the typical family BMW SUV with a female coming out of it, and parking space for customers is in front of my dad's work, not behind it. So I'm looking at her like, what is she going to do? When she came close enough to me, she could hear my car radio blasting, so she gestured to lower the volume. So that's exactly what I did. The conversation went like this. I said, "Can I help you?" She says, "Yes, when can I come and pick my car up?" Me, not knowing she thinks I'm the auto shop, "I don't know, whenever you want, I guess." She says, "Oh, that's awesome. I'm gonna go to Tesco and buy some stuff. I'll be back in 15 minutes. She then proceeds to leave the keys on my cart and walks off. By now, I'm kinda confused what she wanted from me. I assumed she wanted me to look after her car because it's quite common that other people bump with their doors into your car and just leave. So I didn't take that as a problem since it was parked a few meters from me. After maybe 30 minutes, she comes back with 2 bags. "Are the tires changed?" I say, "What tires?" "The tires on my car, of course. Have you changed them already?" For clarification, I can get easily pissed off if people talk to me like I'm some slave of theirs, but it takes a lot more to make me freaking lose it. I say, "Why the heck would I change your tires?" She says, "Because you already pulled the tires out of your shop and have the tools out, so that means you're open for business." Now I realized what is going on. I say, "Do I look like I'm an auto shop?" Now Karen made a big freaking mistake. She said, "Are you deaf or what, you fat moron? You have tools and tires out on a cart, so shut the freak up and change my tires." This is the point when I snapped. Let me just tell you that Czech language is very rich on swear words, and we can make a swear word out of almost any word, so the translation might not be 100% precise. "You freaking sack of poop, who do you think you are, or who do you think you're talking to? You better get the freak out of here before I shove the jack right up your butt." The Karen said, "How freaking dare you speak to me like that? You're lucky my husband isn't with me, otherwise he would freak you up. Now get the freak to changing my tires before I slap your ugly butt face." Now my dad is coming out from the back door because you wouldn't hear us screaming only if you were deaf. Dad says, "What's going on?" The Karen says, "Your employee is refusing to change my tires and is being very rude and disrespectful to me." Dad says, "He's not our employee and we don't change tires. What the freak are you doing back here anyway?" Karen says, "I'm here to get my tires changed because my stupid husband doesn't know how." Interesting that her husband went from freaking me up to not being able to change stupid tires. Dad says, "We're not an auto shop, so shut your goddarn mouth and leave our parking yard." Now I should say that I was still holding a pipe from my jack because otherwise I would already smack her. Karen says, "So you are rude, disrespectful, and confusing me instead of telling me that you're not an auto shop?" At this point, I saw her getting ready to slap me, so I did the most simple and probably the best thing I could do. I just raised my hand. So when she was already in the motion of hitting me, she hit the pipe. After that, she screamed in pain, ran to her car, and just drove off. When she was backing up, I got a look on her plate. Unsurprisingly, she was from Prague, and people from Prague usually get lost in small cities or villages. When my dad asked what the heck was that, I just answered, "Just another idiot from Prague," and we had a laugh about it. And just for clarification, no, she couldn't get hurt much because the impact of her hand on the pipe wasn't even strong enough for me to lose grip of it. I'm just trying to think of what auto shop is so straightforward that you just kind of roll up and hand the keys off, and they just change your tires. Not only that, but they didn't even ask for pricing or anything. Is that how some places roll? Let me know in the comments down below. Our next story is by Odontoblastoise1, Disney and How to Beat the System. I was probably the entitled one in this story. When I was a junior in high school, I went on a date with a girl I knew from a couple of classes at school. We lived in Southern California and Disneyland was close, so we decided to go there. It was cheaper then too. California Adventure was still being built and they used to charge less for residents. She wanted to do something a little crazy, so we decided to go to a thrift store on our way to the park and buy the most ridiculous outfits to wear for the day. I got to pick out hers, and she got to pick out mine. For her, I found this old gray Amish-style dress that looked handmade and smelled like mothballs. I chose that and a green John Deere trucker hat. She found me a pair of oversized khaki pants and a red Hawaiian shirt and suspenders. We changed at a gas station and headed to the park. We had been there about an hour and were waiting in line for Space Mountain, getting all kinds of weird looks, which I guess was the point, when I spotted the family of my new brother-in-law. I recognized them, but they didn't recognize me. They lived 2 states away, and I'd only met them at my sister's wedding a few months before. I asked my date if it would be okay if I went and said hi. She said to go invite them up to stand in line with us and just to act like we're one big group. I didn't feel too bad as the line was moving quick, and they weren't that far behind us. I said I'd be right back, and at first I tried to snake back through the line to get to them, but I got frustrated and just started undoing the ropes separating the line and redoing them behind me. It was much quicker. Soon, I was talking to my brother-in-law's parents and siblings, and I invited them to come up to where we were in the line. They happily agreed, and I just did what I had done to get to them, undoing the ropes and reattaching them after the small group of us passed. At first, people started to look annoyed, but then for some reason I didn't get, they just kind of moved to one side and made space for us to cut through. As I passed one lady waiting there with her boyfriend and an 8 or 9-year-old, I heard her lean over to him and say, "I guess it's who you know." I still didn't understand. A moment later, we were with my date and talking, and a few minutes later, we parted ways as we got on the ride, they ahead of us. After the roller coaster, we saw them again briefly, and the mom asked me how long I had worked at Disneyland. It all clicked, the differential looks and the complete lack of outright rude commentary as we cut through the line. Commentary I fully expected and deserved, by the way. It was the Hawaiian shirt and khakis. I laughed and told her I didn't work there, that we bought the clothes at a thrift store on our way there as a joke. They all laughed and later told me that they thought it was awesome that Disney would pay an employee to escort an Amish girl through the park. I got confused for a worker 3 more times that day. At least 3 more people came up and actually started talking to me like I worked there. One was a park employee who asked where my name tag was and why I was so far out of my area. After I explained I was a guest, she was super nice and told me that the shirt was one that was used as a uniform for an area over by the Jungle Ride. I told her we found it at a random thrift store, and she looked surprised because all of the uniforms are park property, and I guess they aren't supposed to leave the park. The rest of the day, people stepped out of our way when we were walking anywhere and kind of just let us by. Not typical or expected. It was the nicest day I ever spent at Disney. That was the only date we ever went on, but we're still friends to this day. Alright guys, so lesson learned here, just get a park employee uniform and wear that to Disney, and then just carry yourself with a purpose. Act like you know where you're going. That's kind of half of sneaking into anywhere, isn't it? Bring a hazard vest, a ladder, and a hard hat, and just walk with purpose. You'll get into anywhere you want. This next story is by Mike_OxonFire, a tactical Karening. The Karen gets Karened. I was witness to possibly the most hilarious Karen interaction I've ever seen. In this, I was just an onlooker and didn't play a part at all. There were 3 players in this dialogue: K, the Karen; UC, the nicely dressed but unfortunate customer who Karen decided worked there; and HC, the hilarious customer who, well, it'll all become clear. Saturday, yesterday in fact, I went to pick up some groceries at ASDA, British company owned by Walmart, but less trashy. As I'm shopping with my trolley, I hear the harumph of an approaching Karen behind me, but to my surprise, she walks straight past me to unfortunate customer, demanding this, that, and the other, to which unfortunate customer responds with, "Sorry, but I don't work here." As Karen starts accusing him of lying, etc., I figured that I'll stick around and see what happens. It might be funny, but if she assaults the guy or accuses him of something, I'll be a witness. As I'm listening to unfortunate customer reiterate that he doesn't work for ASDA, and Karen repeatedly accusing him of lying, another customer, hilarious customer, comes past and addresses the Karen in a big booming voice. "Finally, a manager!" He booms at her, "Some woman just accused me of not helping her when I'm a customer here. Now what are you going to do about it?" Oh, the irony. Karen turns to hilarious customer and says, "What? I'm not a manager. What are you?" But gets cut off mid-sentence by hilarious customer. "Of course you're a manager. I've seen you talking to customers. Now you are going to help me." Karen tries to explain that she was talking to unfortunate customer who she says works there, but in the confusion, unfortunate customer had wisely ducked out, leaving Karen saying, "I was talking to," as she gestures in an empty space. Suddenly, she is alone. Hilarious customer says, "Well, hanging around speaking to staff isn't very professional, is it? You should be doing your job, helping customers, starting with me." Karen then just screams, "I don't freaking work here, freak off," and walks off, clearly upset, abandoning her shopping trolley. That's a shopping cart to those who live in the States, in the process. Unfortunate customer, who's been waiting on the next aisle, walks back at this point and says, "She's gone." "Yeah, well," says hilarious customer, "that got rid of her," smiles vaguely, and just continues shopping like nothing had happened. Hilarious customer, whoever you are, you're a freaking legend. It definitely seems like a good developing strategy here is doing the whole return fire thing. "Oh, are you a manager here? Can you help me out?" And you just go round and round in the circle until hopefully the Karen gets the picture and just gives up or actually goes and tries to find an actual employee. And our final story of the day is by IT Conspiracy, Anger Over Spilled Milk. I used to work in a grocery store. I had worked there for 7 years, but thankfully I have left and I'm finally leaving the retail scene in a month. Anyway, this story is about a time I did not work there. I went into the store to get some things for a dish, but you would have guessed they were handing out free money or something because the store was so crowded. Every register was open, but you still had to wait in a huge butt line because it was so busy. So I came from the beach, I'm in a swimsuit, normal in my beach town, and I'm holding a bunch of things. I go through the checkout and chat with my old coworkers. I love them, 10 out of 10. Anyway, on my way to the door, a man drops an entire gallon of milk all over the floor. I swear it was like he just poured it everywhere. I look up to the cashiers and managers working and I see their defeated eyes. Everyone was so busy that no one had the opportunity to come clean this milk. So I sigh and grab the cleaning supplies. The man is just staring at the milk on the floor, not moving. I get on my hands and knees and toss the man some paper towels to help. He doesn't move and says something like, "I don't work here. I don't need to clean this." I ignore that statement and clean the milk while in a bathing suit. After I'm almost done, he asks me something like, "Oh, do you work here?" I said, "No, I'm just a decent human being." He left in a huff after that. 10 out of 10, would do it again. Take care of your retail workers. Honestly, I would be so embarrassed if I spilt milk in a store like that, especially near the checkout with all the cashiers and people around. And OP's a lot more brave than I would be in that situation. Getting on the ground and cleaning up milk like that while in a bathing suit? In a Walmart? If I was OP in that situation, I wouldn't be doing that. As a normie that's never worked in a retail scene, I wouldn't exactly know any kind of go-to, rather than just hoping some kind of person that works there would come over and try and help. Now granted, this guy does seem just like a bad person, didn't seem to care at all, but even in general, I don't know how many regular people would immediately jump to action and do something, but I'd probably help if I got tossed paper towels for sure. But with that being said, that's all the time we have for today. So if you have a favorite story of the day, let me know which story and why in the comments down below. But besides that, if you enjoyed the video, please consider giving it a like, and if you haven't, subscribe and turn notifications on so you'll never miss an upcoming video. No matter what you do, whether it's just viewing the video, liking, subscribing, turning notifications on, I appreciate the heck out of it. Every little thing that you do helps the channel grow that much more, and I can't thank you enough for it. So until next time, I hope you all have a wonderful day, and I'll be right here next time on the Storytime channel.